Good evening and welcome to the October 13th, 2020 Northern Lebanon School Board meeting. I now call this meeting to order. Director Murray will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We are physically present in the school library. In order to maintain physical distancing, we are not yet able to welcome community member participants to board meetings in person, but we do thank you for joining us virtually. Please know that all webinar community member participants will remain on mute during the meeting unless they have put in a request to speak during the public comment period. Mrs. Martin, may I have a roll call, please?
All members are present.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt tonight's meeting agenda as presented? May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Moving on to item E, we do have some presentations to make note of this evening. The high school students of the month for September are Joseph Beidler and Jocelyn Mertz. October students are Olivia Cheslock and Bethany Snyder. This award is sponsored jointly by the Fredericksburg and Jonestown Lions Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Lions Club. The middle school student of the month for September is Katie Marinkov. October student is Liliana Harris. This award is sponsored by the Northern Lebanon County Rotary Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Rotary Club. And tonight we do have our student board representative present, Eileen Zemba, and Eileen will be speaking to us this evening.
Hello, I'm Eileen Zemba, grade 9, and I'm the Student Council School Board representative this year. Student Council is trying to plan a lot of fun social distancing activities and events for the school this year. The council made thank you notes and bags of treats for the staff that were distributed October 1st. We are planning spirit days and hall decorating. We just actually finished decorating for Halloween after school today, so yeah. We are planning on having boograms where students will send notes and candy to their friends for Halloween. We made a sign-up form on Google Docs for the boograms. With the crazy times in the pandemic, it's been challenging for this council to plan the usual events, so the council had the school vote, which helped us to decide to postpone the homecoming dance to March 20th, if circumstances allow the dance to happen by then. In place of the dance, Student Council is planning a homecoming parade to honor the school, the homecoming court, as well as their sports teams and clubs. Homecoming parade is scheduled for November 14th and will go around the school.
Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Eileen, and thank you for being here as well.
And thank you for the treats.
The halls do look very festive. It's fun. All right, moving on to item F, we have our superintendent's report.
Yes, I think if everyone has been paying attention to the paper and the numbers, Lebanon County once again, and the state of Pennsylvania, but Lebanon County in particular is what I focus on, continue to see some numbers that are rising in terms of cases. I had, as I mentioned to you earlier today, I was on the phone with PDE and the Department of Health, PDE has some suggested guidelines in terms of where we need to be for different types of learning. Currently, we've crossed into what they call their substantial range. And PDE's take on it is that you need to be there for 2 consecutive weeks. So, and they've had a number of times where schools have crossed over, and then the next week it came back down. So we are keeping our fingers crossed that that is the case. We have another conference call scheduled for next week, and it is with all of Lebanon County superintendents and then PD and Department of Health. So as more information becomes available, certainly we will pass that along. And I do want to note too that I know that there have been some social media posts and discussions. I was contacted actually by a parent today that had seen we were coming back 5 days a week. And that has not been something that I have discussed obviously with you as a board, and really have not had too many internal discussions, if any, really, other than to continue to reinforce what our 3 options are and to be prepared for any of those options. So I would encourage, anyone in the public, if those circumstances change, we will give plenty of notice to the public in terms of what we're seeing and the trends that we're seeing before any change. I think if we do have to change quickly, it's going to be a situation where we close quickly. If we open full-time, it would be a situation where we would clearly communicate that, give a date in the future as to when that would happen, and then proceed from there. But you could have an outbreak in any building, and that building could have to close, or our numbers could continue to go up in Lebanon County, and then there would be conversations about that as well. So I just wanted to be upfront about that for the public, and also to clarify a few things, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Messinger. Item G, old business. Is there any old business for discussion this evening? All right, hearing none, then we will move on to our public input session. Those wishing to make public comment were asked to submit that request by 6:25 this evening via email or the online form. We have one request for public comment. Are they online? I believe it is Mr. Brian Wood. Nope, he does not appear to be here, so we will move on to our items for board action on our consent calendar. That is items 1 through 19. These items were presented at our committee meeting last week. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as approved?
Director Bucks, before we do that, to go along with one of the items that's on the consent calendar, the resolution for the bond financing, we do have, Leanne has, we have some visitors here to help just make sure you understand that resolution or see if there's any questions. Leanne, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay, and we have, was Brad talking, or was just, what, Brooke, or, I can't read it from here.
Dr. Messinger, it's Brooke Say. I have 2 colleagues on the line here. So Brad Remig is going to address the finance side of things, and then my partner Steve Havis is going to address the resolution and the legal side of things. I don't know who's going first, but they're both there and ready to go.
Great. Okay. Well, you guys can fight it out for who would like to talk first.
I'll get to the bottom line. Thank you very much for having us. As you may recall, this summer we discussed refinancing some existing debt to try and reduce the interest rate and save some money. We went out with the RFP process. As you may be aware, asked a lot of banks to give us loans to refinance both bonds. I think at the time we were hoping to net somewhere in the neighborhood of 717,000 of savings. We got it to about 767,000 of savings. So we exceeded that by going through that process. And we've provided the information to Mr. Havis. So he's prepared the resolution for your consideration, but it really has become quite a successful effort.
Great, thanks, Brad. The district hasn't issued debt since 2012, so this is really new for everyone. So I prepared a resolution for the board's consideration. And prior to any political subdivision in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania incurring debt, they need to authorize it by resolution and then send an application to DCED for approval of that debt. So the resolution is part of that application and is required by state law. The first page provides a great summary of what we're doing as part of that resolution. We're authorizing the incurrence of debt by two series. The first is the general obligation note, Series A of 2020, in the principal amount of $4,760,000. And the purpose of that issue is to refund the 2012 A notes. And then the second series is your Series B of 2020, and the principal amount of $6,900,000. And that's the purpose of that is to refund your series of 2012 B notes as presented by PFM. So that's the refunding project. You're accepting the purchase proposals from Key Government Finance, Inc., which was the lowest bidder for the purchase of your notes. You're appointing Fulton Bank National Association as the paying agent. Under state law, you need to have a paying agent. We call them general obligation notes because you're pledging your full faith, credit, and taxing power as the security for the payment of the notes. And you're obligated on an annual basis to include in your budget the debt service that comes due that year, as well as timely pay that each year. Those are the basic parameters of the resolution, and it's 30 pages. But to the extent that, in accordance with Local Government Unit Debt Act, you're required to authorize it by resolution, we've included all the provisions of the Local Government Unit Debt Act within the resolution. You're authorizing your officers to take any and all action necessary to get to closing, which we are planning in late November. So once you approve this, we'll send the application up to DCED for approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for either of those gentlemen? Okay, go ahead.
All right, thank you for those updates and explanation. So now we will move on with the consent calendar. This includes items 1 through 19. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Now we move on to item K. We have a single discussion item this evening, and Dr. Messinger will present that.
Yes, it's just the tentative adoption of a new class, anatomy and physiology curriculum. This is obviously the first approval, and then we'll bring it back next month for a final approval.
May I have a motion to approve the curriculum as presented? May I have a second? Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Moving on to our reports from representatives. First up, we have the Career and Technology Center representative, Director Klein.
I have nothing to report this month.
All right, then moving on to our IU representative, Director Murray.
I have nothing new to report other than just that the IU continues to navigate the events that we're in and the reality that we're in very well and continue to serve our children in the best ways they can.
Thank you. Then our legislative PSBA liaison, Director Sakelic.
Nothing to report this month.
All right. Is there any new business for discussion this evening? Okay, there are some dates to remember. Our next meeting will be Monday, November 2nd. It is Monday because of Election Day that week. So November 2nd is our committee meeting, and then the following week we do meet on Tuesday, November 10th. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
May I have a second? Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. I now call this meeting adjourned. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Hey, before you go, October 21st is the night of the, first of all, Leadtown